Blessed are the manga gods for giving us a Berserk chapter and a Vinland Saga chapter on the same goddamn day. And even more so, going into this Vinland Saga chapter, we begin things off seeing what CANUTE is currently up to, which I love and I feel like we just aren't getting enough of. And it's unfortunate because after the slave arc of Vinland Saga, CANUTE really isn't as prominent of a character as he had been before that. He is in the sense that he is the king and he's very, very important in his legacy, and his actions have influence over things that are happening, but we don't get him in the focus. So every time it cuts back to CANUTE to actually see what he's been up to and what he's got going on, I always love those moments. And it seems like every time we cut back to him, he gets darker and darker and darker, and this moment is no exception. So the chapter begins with a group of people that are all like sitting around in one location, look like they've been herded to this one simple location, and then arrows just begin to pelt them into infinity. And these people are women, children. This is everybody. This is like every kind of person. So this is not a war. This is a massacre. This is literally taking out an entire group of people, an entire populace of people in this one particular location. And when it cuts back to see that CANUTE is actually the person that is ordering this to happen, it just kind of is like, what the hell is this guy actually doing? And what is the purpose of this? There's a great moment where one character sees a woman running and he's about to shoot an arrow at her, and he sees that she's similar to his sister, similar age, similar look, and he can't pull the string on the arrow. He can't shoot her. And then all of a sudden an arrow comes out of nowhere, gets her right in the head, and we pull back, and it's actually CANUTE himself that did it. And then pulling back even further, we see that he is burning down all these houses. He's burning down boats. So he is on a mission to do some crazy shit here. And when we see Wolf again, which is great to see. Also, if you're following the Vinland Saga anime, we just saw him get his eye ripped out in the anime, and so he shows up here with the eye patch. Just like an instant reminder that I just recently saw a man stick 2 fingers into another man's eyeball. That had to hurt, man. And Wolf is immediately concerned for CANUTE's health, which brings back the revelation of the last chapter, and something that has kind of been brewing in the background ever since they got to Vinland is that there are rats that are spreading disease and subtly carrying disease. And we get the impression that that is what happened to all of the characters that were in Markland before. Now, the last chapter was only about 8 pages long, which was unfortunate because we waited a month and there wasn't really a whole lot there. But the implications of what that chapter is going to mean for things moving forward is the exciting part. And that is, people didn't just randomly disappear. They were killed off by this disease. And it seems like the disease has reached the shores of wherever CANUTE is at this current time, at this current moment, and he is getting rid of it, okay? He's not waiting around for somebody to create a vaccine, all right? He's got people wearing masks, but that's about as far as it's going to go, and it's only his team. He's not going to create a lockdown and a quarantine and make everybody wear masks. Instead, he's just going to go directly to the source and just destroy it. And that is essentially his plan and his motive here, is to go to this place where the disease is spreading and basically wipe these people off the map, like wipe them away so that the disease can't spread further. And the idea behind it is sacrificing the few to save the many. But because of that, CANUTE is literally killing innocent women and children and men that haven't done anything to deserve it. All they did was get sick. Now, of course, back in this period of history, there's not really going to be a chance for them to come up with medicine to fix it. These people are probably going to be dead anyways because of the disease, and these are also probably the reasons why CANUTE is justifying his decision, is that, they're going to die out anyway, and this prevents them from at least, spreading it to other people. But they're not dying on their own terms. They're dying without their own consent by CANUTE just kind of coming in and pelting everybody with arrows and burning down their homes. So what is the morality here? And this is why I really like that Vinland Saga always kind of deals with these really, really hard questions of, it's not just about, war is bad. It's just about these moral questions of what is the right thing to do within this absolutely horrible situation where in many cases there really is no right decision. But you have characters with different ideals and different ideas about how to handle it that oppose one another. And I love how both CANUTE and Thorfinn, Thorfinn and Einar and his group, and Canute and Wolf over here in two different separate parts of the world, are actively thinking about what the other person would do. And I really, really like that because they both have the same goal, but they go about it in completely different ways. And I like that both of them are kind of questioning, what would the other person do? Is this the right decision? And I really, really, really like that. Now, from Canute's perspective, he says he remembers Thorfinn saying that he would not commit violence. He wouldn't kill another person. So how would he handle this situation? And Canute's even saying to himself, sometimes you have to let the demon out, which is basically what he's saying. He's like, I ordered some of my people to be killed. And again, this is like super fucked up, but in a fucked up kind of way. I respect this, that he came here himself and he's making himself be part of it. And he's not just ordering, somebody else to go kill a bunch of people. Like, go kill these people, get rid of them, they're diseased, whatever. Like, if he has to sacrifice his people, he's going to be right here. He's going to make himself witness it. He's going to make himself do it. And there's not any bloodlust in it. In a way, it's kind of like he's punishing himself. It's like, this is the hard decision I have to make, so I'm not going to just put it on other people. I'm going to do it myself, which is like something that you don't see in a king and a leader, and that kind of thing. Normally, a dirty job like this, they would just kind of delegate to somebody else. So interesting that Canute chose to be here himself. And I love that the entire time that he's thinking about what Thorfinn would do in this situation. And then it flashes to Vinland. And we have a similar conversation going on between Thorfinn, Einar, and the other Thorfinn. Of course, the other Thorfinn, Bug Eyes, he's not really contributing to the conversation. He's just kind of there, man. He probably just misses his Native American girlfriend, which I can understand. I mean, I feel you, bro. But anyways, so they're having this conversation, and I like that they flash back also to their conversation with Canute. I like that they use the panel of Einar pointing his finger. It's the one where he says to Canute, "I bet you've never held a hoe in your life," which has been amazing meme material, and I can't wait until that scene is in the anime for the same reason. But essentially, they're here because they're supposed to meet with the natives, but the natives aren't showing up. They're not here. So, there's a whole bunch of questions about why that could be or what they could be doing. Did we have the wrong day? Did they have the wrong day? They want to tell the natives about Hild and her potential plan to take down the shaman. Again, this is a really complicated, nuanced situation because Hild, at first, I believe, never had any intention of actually killing Ivyar and the others there, Stark, and I always forget the third guy's name. But I think she wanted to pose the threat of violence to keep them in line. When it comes to the shaman, now that situation got kind of messed up, she wasn't able to complete that interaction that she wanted to. Thorfinn showed up, so now she's gone on to kind of hunt down the shaman. So there's so many things that could be happening here, and they want to warn them, but they're not here. Now, added to that, they don't know yet about the potential disease that could be spreading between everybody, which is, again, another horrendous situation that how do you fix this, right? And I think they're going to get more into that in the next chapter coming up, which is really interesting. I don't know. There's something really interesting about everything that's going on in the Vinland arc. I know it's just, I don't know, man. There's something creative about it that I really like. But Einar, even back in the slave arc, he was thinking about situations that, violence may be necessary or maybe killing would be necessary. And he had that conversation with Thorfinn a few times back then. He also has this moment where he was saying, from the perspective of... That's my cat. What are you doing? From the perspective of where he was when he talked to Canute before, he was on the side of the victims more so because he had been a victim. But now that he's sort of in charge a little bit, he's not like King Canute, obviously, but he's got authority here and he's looking after a bunch of people, right? So he's wondering more, is sacrificing the few worth saving the many? If he thinks about, if Hild does kill the shaman, wouldn't that ultimately be good? Wouldn't that prevent war? And even Thorfinn agrees it probably would. But Thorfinn mentions that he refuses to accept that righteous violence is good at all in any way, that there has to be another way, right? And that's his plight. That's his struggle. That's how Thorfinn fights to become a true warrior, is how do you fight without fighting? The idea of just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And that's always kind of been his struggle ever since after the slave arc, right? And he's pushed and pushed more. And I like challenging characters. I like putting their ideals in question. And I really like putting them in situations that they are vastly unprepared for. You know, I like putting characters through the ringer. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm a bit of a masochist. I don't know. I just like taking a character, building them up, and then throwing them into the worst possible situation to see how they respond. And I think that that's what's going to happen with this disease thing. So they don't get to meet the natives. They go back to the village. One cool thing is we get to see Gudrid a little bit pregnant, and it's just like super adorable. And I don't know, I just want to give her a hug. I need a cute dark-haired girl to get pregnant. Is that what the? Anyways, everyone in the town is gathered around the statue because the survivor, the last survivor of Markland that we saw in the last chapter, has arrived with the crew that rescued him. And he's going to tell people about what happened. And I believe he's going to talk about the disease. Now, if the disease is beginning to spread, first of all, bringing him here, and this could like throw things out of whack too, because he could have the disease and not know it. Or it could be slower acting on him. And, you know, everybody's body is different. Everyone's immune system is different. By bringing him here, they could have literally just infected everybody. Which puts the moral question at play. Canute killed all of those people. Again, like, it's murder. It's against their consent, you know. But because of that, the disease will probably not spread. They rescued this man, choosing to save his life, bring him here. Now the disease might spread. So what is the morally correct thing to do? You know? And those are the questions that this manga poses, and I really like that. I think that's really creative that they threw that in there. Also, the disease might affect the natives a lot quicker than it affects the Norsemen, you know, because they are truly not used to where these rats are coming from, you know. The Norsemen might have a little bit more of a natural immunity, which might be why this guy is still living, you know. But the natives might not. The natives also not showing up to meet with Thorfinn could mean many things. It could mean they no longer trust them. It could mean they're more suspicious. Maybe they're already dealing with the disease. Maybe the disease has already begun to spring. Again, if that's the case, then it probably came from whatever tribe was in Markland, or maybe as they've traveled. I don't know how it could possibly gotten to them, but it's just another possibility. So these are really hard questions, really hard situations to think about. When you put Hild in the situation of killing the shaman, when you put Thorfinn into the situation of believing there's no righteous violence, saving the last survivor, a wounded man, not saving an entire village of people. Is it possible? You know, it's just like there's so much going on here, which is great. So I think that there is a great setup for things to come. I think the Vinland arc continues to expand and get a lot more in-depth and a lot more it does something so different than the rest of the Vinland arcs. Like, I'd still say, obviously, because the Vinland arc is not complete yet, I still like the slave arc and the first, prologue war, whatever you call it. I still like that more at this point. But just the constant, curveballs, the constant, wrenches in the plan, and just the characters' like moral quandaries, and just like, having such a difficult time trying to figure out how to deal with all of these new problems while at the same time keep everybody calm and kind of maintain this relationship between two radically different cultures. It is really, really interesting. And I kind of love it, man. I kind of love it. Like, this is kind of great shit. Like, I personally, obviously, I do hope that there is a bit of action, sequences moving forward in Vinland Saga. I hope we do get like another fight or two before the end of it. But I'm really just enjoying the story so much and how the characters are trying to figure this shit out. And it's so great because it's a history piece. So it's like, you can't just like call them up and ask them, you can't just communicate easily. It's just, I don't know. It's great. I don't know. It's fucking great, man. Anyways, let me know what you think about Vinland Saga Chapter 202. If you have read it, let me know your thoughts and ideas and theories down below about what you think is going to happen. What do you think about Canute's decision? What do you think about Thorfinn's decision? How do they compare to you? There's always been, ever since the beginning, there's always been a very interesting comparison between Thorfinn and Canute. You know, these two characters around the same age, grew up in radically different circumstances, ended up having the same goal in mind, going at it in different directions. One comes from nobility, one comes from nothing. It's just like they always had a really interesting parallel between the two of them, and I'm glad that that's still here in some way. So let me know what you think. Like the video and comment to help it in the algorithm. Also, if you guys want to help support the channel on a deeper level, I would appreciate it if you did so. I have channel memberships turned on, Patreon, merch store, and of course all the various social media links where you can follow me. Other than that, guys, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.